Morning, welcome to the video. Okay, so we're on a little new client for this year. It's going to be mowing, it's going to be lawn care, full works, but we're starting off with a turfing project. This was a pond in the far corner where all the gravel is, and then this was, I guess a bed. So a lot of shrubs in here, a few trees. Lots of work has gone on to open up this kind of canopy. To get a lot more light in. So the first step of this project will be to get this all turfed. So I've had to get this membrane up, and then I'm just raking out the rest of the big stones. You're never going to get all the every single little stone out, but at the moment it's just raking out all this work here, and then what we're going to do is bring in soil to level it all off as best we can, and certainly put lots in what was the hole, which has basically been backfilled with the rest of the rockery, I suppose. So that wasn't I didn't do that, I wasn't involved in that, that's just how it is. So we should be looking to put a good couple inches or more of soil in the corner, and then we can then turf on top. Okay, so we've got 2 bags of soil which have been emptied out here. There's still a few bits in the bag, but the idea is to rake it all about, tread it all in, and then sort of pull it towards us here. And then anything left I can bring in, but I don't want to bring too much in and then have to remove it. So yeah, here we are. Looks like lots of molehills, but we shall push this around and start leveling it out. Okay, so that's the 2 bags now all out. I just need to give it a final treading in and a final rake, and then that will be it for today. And what I'll do is I'll come back in a couple of days and we will get the we will get the turf laid. Okay, so it's Tuesday. Yesterday all the turf prep was done, and during the preparation of the turf, the area almost doubled when the client saw how good it could look. So yeah, job ended up being a bit bigger than expected, but that's all fine. So that'll be turfing on Friday. I am back. You saw in a video last time I was cutting that, there was 3 reindeer Christmas lights on it. I've tried to get in here about 4 times this season, and every time has been cancelled due to absolute torrential rain. So this is actually my first, I wouldn't say visit, because I have been here and then decided that it's just impossible. So this is the first time I've come and it's not raining. So yeah, we're going to give this a bit of a cut. Okay, so we've had a couple of torrential rain showers, obviously, because I'm at this property trying to get it done. And the lawn has been sprayed with some iron, so it greens up straight away, doesn't it? Pretty good. And this is this section over here as well. It's now Wednesday. Today's going to be a full day, mainly going to be iron treatments. Okay, so what I thought I'd do is a little recap on what I do for my iron treatments. Now, I have made a video about this a long time ago, and for a lot of people it's their kind of go-to video to recap each time. So what I've got here in these black sacks is iron. That's delivery. What you want to do is, I'm not going to bother moving the camera, but basically I've got it up on some wood. I always try and keep pallets to keep fertiliser or iron on, because you don't want to get them wet. Here's an open bag even. This is whatever this is. That's the stuff I'm using this year. For the last 5 years probably I've been using this stuff. I mean, when you put in iron sulfate on Google or whatever, you'll recognise the pattern pretty quickly. So I think it's important to remember, if you've done your spraying certificate, you will know this. Generally it's the ones who haven't who are the ones who question everything I do. When you're trying to calibrate your sprayer, when you're trying to work out how much product you need, you've got to take into consideration, 1, how fast you walk, and 2, how tall you are, because if you're the taller you are, the higher the spray is, covering more area. So that's going to be a lot more diluted than if you're a short person and you're holding it right by the ground and it's just a little spray just straight in. So that's a very technical noise, that. So this is how I do it. This works for me. So what I've done is this was a drinks bottle. So what I've done is I've cut the top off, a levelled scoop, and then a second levelled scoop. Now what I'll do is I'll mix that with water. In the summertime, when the weather is fine, if I was just looking to maybe give the lawn a bit of a green up, or there was a bit of red thread coming in that I just wanted to dehydrate, then I would just use one of these. As I say, for you, I don't know how tall you are, I don't know how wide your spray width is, I don't know how fast you walk. So this may not work for you. You've got to find something that works for you, okay? And it's very personal, so don't take this as this is what you have to do. I'm only showing you what I do, okay? So what we then do is we get this here. What we're going to do is mix some water in. People have messaged me saying if you boil a kettle it will mix it, you know, and pour it in, that will mix it a lot better. Yes, that is correct. However, how many times do you have a boiled kettle with you when you're out in the field? If you go, you know, I'll fill all these up now, but at some point during the day I'm going to have to fill these all back up again, and I'm not going to be able to go to a client, go, can you boil a kettle and bring it out for me? That's not going to work. Whereas if I say, oh, can I just borrow a bit of water just to top up, that's much more acceptable. I've not quite worked out how I'm going to do it this year, because the tap is now in a completely different place, and this stuff will stain, so you don't really want to spill it anywhere. So all I'm looking to do is to just dampen it down, because if you fire the hose in there, this stuff's going to go and bounce out. So now, a bit of jet in there, and then I've got an old whisk, and I'm just going to agitate it. And that's probably good enough. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to leave that to settle for a minute. I mean, I could whisk that up and put it in one of these, decant it in now, but because I've got some others to do, I'm just going to leave it. The one thing with sulfate iron is it blocks the nozzles on any kind of sprayer really, really quickly. So you need to get it agitated as much as you can. And also what I like to do is to strain it into my containers. So obviously I need to pour it into a funnel, so what I do is I get a pair of old tights, and normally what I do is I cut the legs off. The legs go on the sprayer, and then the gusset, if you will, and you can use the legs as well, it doesn't really matter, is go over the top. I mean, actually here's a perfect example of all that stuff there. Don't know if you can see that. There you go, all that stuff there, that would be blocking the nozzle. Okay, so I have had some people comment, say on the last video, basically saying that this is a right faff, there's other products you can use. I've lost my whisk now. And to which I said to them, how much is your stuff per square metre? And their reply was, oh, I don't know. Well, in that case, forgive me if I don't take your business advice, because that's ultimately what we are. In these two buckets, I've got about 1,200 square metres of iron treatment. So what I do need to do is to get this into here now. Now the iron can be quite gritty and it can definitely block up your nozzles. So I'm going to mix it in, but if you followed the steps and you've used the tights as I show you, you will never have an issue. So just give this a little twirl. It's important not to fill the bucket right up so it doesn't splash out. So what I'm doing is I'm getting an old pair of tights. I'm basically cutting the legs off. You can use the legs for this, but I also use the legs for the sprayer. Then all I'm doing with the gusset is chucking it over here. And bearing in mind, you don't have to do this every time, because once it's done, it's done. I'm just doing this for the purposes of the video. Push it down a little bit, sit it on top, and then we've mixed this around a little bit, and all I'm going to do is just pour it in. I'm going to pour about half the bucket, give it another stir. Oh, spilled a bit. It's alright though, I'm going to be repainting this this floor soon. I'd normally do this outside, but for purposes of the video, I'm doing it here. Okay, now this is low enough that I can swirl this round. And then just mix this bit in here. Then what I'll do is, if I just show you, that's the stuff that's been left behind, and that is the stuff that will block your sprayer. So that's that. All I now need to do, this is a 20-litre container, all I now need to do is just fill this up to the top, and there's 600 square metres of lawn treatment in there. Depending what time of year it is, if we're sort of a bit later in the spring or the winter, and particularly if it's a job that I know I'm going to be seeding at my next visit when I scarify, etc., what I will do is I can mix weed killer in there as well. And actually you can pretty much mix anything in there as far as I've seen. Sometimes I chuck a bit of fertiliser in there with a lighter rate in the summer. So yeah, so I might chuck some weed killer in there too. Selected, that is, obviously. Great, so I'll fill that up, I'll do this bucket, and then that's it. I'll when I'm on one of the spraying jobs, I'll show you the next step. Okay, so we're at a job now. First thing when it comes to the sprayers, I tend to just use cheap old sprayer. The iron's pretty corrosive, and you can see the state of it. What I tend to do is, these are knackered, but just get some pipe insulation, wrap it around, and then duct tape it up. That tends to be, I mean, this is really old, but it's a cheap and easy way to make this a much better shoulder strap than the stuff these really cheap ones do come with. Actually, this is much better than the Cooper Pegler ones. I have used a Cooper Pegler sprayer in the past, but very soon it sounds like you've got a donkey on your back, because it's like every time you pump it. I don't know if you can see in here now that that's what I do with the leg of the sock. It goes over the pump and then obviously just sticks out here. So basically you're filtering it twice now. All I now need to do is with my... Now originally when I bought some of these I got them with the taps, but to be honest they take so flipping long for everything to come out. It's easier just to tip it on its side and turn it. These are much better than the square 20-litre, because what can happen is it's harder to get the air out. So for the first 10 litres it proper slops out, and when you're trying not to spill it, it's quite difficult. Whereas these thin ones, it doesn't take long before you can get the air, and then you can get a smooth pour on it. A good example of that would be this. If I clear this up, you can see there it slops out because I'm not letting any air out. If I turn it on its side and pour it, it's a lot smoother. And that would be the same with petrol cans too. If you go for the more rounded ones, you can get the narrower, higher ones. It's much easier to pour the can and not get fuel slopping out than what it is with the square cans. Obviously before I do stir it in, obviously it's sort of agitating when it's in the back of the van, but when I get it out I will make sure the lid's on and give it a really good shake up before I turn it out. Tip it up even. I don't cut this lawn, I just do the treatments on it. It's not been cut recently, but it's in pretty good condition. I do tend to like mowing the lawns before I stripe, before I spray, because then you can really accurately go up and down with the stripes. I can just about see the stripes here. I'm sure the stripes will be actually thicker or stand out more the other side. Let's have a look. Yeah, they're standing out a bit more, so that makes it a lot easier to see where I'm going. So anyway, let's give it a go. Okay, so this is the new client's lawn. This is a winter tidy up. So I've gone around edging, and then so winter tidy up today. Probably one more cut before Easter. Then we're going to regular maintenance. So we're going to get all these leaves out. It's quite good to document this, and then you can look back in the summer or at the end of the season. So this is the front bit. And got this ditch here, so I've already trimmed. You can see where I've trimmed around the road sign there. It's all very, very long. And there's the ditch there. Basically kind of goes to where the shadow of my head is. I would say roughly is the line. Yeah, so I've trimmed the bank. I'll run the mower across the top. What he did say is during the summer when there's no water in the ditch that he trims the bottom of the ditch out as well, so obviously I'll do that in the summer when I can. Edge the bed. Need to blow that out now. These snowdrops are right on the edge of the bed, so I've left them for the moment. Yeah. She edged that bit up. And while I was on my way from the commercial job, which I haven't shown, I decided not to mow. It'd be a good time to punch some holes in with the LA whatever it is, the LA 25, isn't it? The 15mm tines on, so the big tines. And while I was toing and froing there, I picked this bad boy up. So I'm really excited to use this. This is something I thought about for when it first came out, and I wanted to get one. Then I kind of forgot about it. I was really in a market for one this year, for a battery knapsack this year, and I don't know who it was on Instagram, but somebody's got one that I follow, and I realised, I don't know why I didn't think of it, but actually these batteries are the batteries it uses. So I was like, well, perfect, I've got half of it already, so so yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing that, or using that. I've just got to find out where it will live, because I think it's too wide to fit there, so I might have to improvise a little bit. Okay, so all finished. Edges edged, I suppose you could say, striped up. Path's pretty much all cleaned up. Just got to finish off a few little bits here as I work my way back to the van. This is setting 4 on the Hater. Got a little stripe in there, not too much. As the season progresses, we will reduce the height of cut, and but not bad for a first cut. And if you remember in the video last week, we said goodbye to one of my client's properties now, and I had to move the tractor. So here is said tractor, and we're going to be putting it in the van and going to their new property to give them a visit, maybe do some work. I've not heard from the new client yet, although to be fair, tomorrow it would have been a week that they'd moved in, so I'll give them a little bit of time, but then I'm going to have to push them on it, because I need that's a 3-hour weekly slot that someone's going to want. And for the record, I've not measured it, I'm just assuming it will go in. This one has gone in. I don't think it's quite as wide, sorry, as long, but I had to take the 50-inch deck off to get this one on. This deck's, I think it's a 48, So we shall see. The idea was to show you, put the ramps down, reverse up, and everything's great. The issue is the angle here with the ramps that I've got. It was too much of an angle to get the deck up and over, so I had to think outside the box. And what I ended up doing was taking it out into the road. You can see the speed bump there. I ended up parking with the front wheels on the speed bump, so that just changed the angle of the van a little bit. And then with the ramps, that was just enough to get it up and in. Okay, so the mower was a lot easier to get out, and this is the area that it's going to be cutting. This is the new property. I've already started striping it up, first cut. So this is the formal lawn. There's a little bit out the front. Then there's this area here. So we're going to keep this in. You can see that there's a few daffodils coming up, but probably in the autumn we will really go to town on keeping those areas there. If I just stand on the tractor a minute, then you've got a couple of paddocks along there. I think the previous owners had some rare sheep that they kept in there, and then that field over there is also part of it. So I think a farmer rents the field as such to keep his sheep in, but if he doesn't, I am going to have to work out how to cut that, which I already have done, because my local hire shop hires a tractor and a rear flail. So yeah, it's a much smaller house for this particular client, but weirdly an even bigger garden, and there's a swimming pool just the other side of those shrubs there. Compost area over there, fire pit or fire area over there. So yeah, just show you, I've done nothing to this lawn other than start cutting it. So that is the finish. So it's a great little property to get me teeth into. So yeah, loving it so far. Okay, so out here as well, this was really long, don't know if it's been cut, so I trimmed this down. I'll add some photos of what it did look like. So there's the lawn through there. This is the swimming pool area. So this is a couple of jobs that I need to do is pressure wash this. Which is quite good because I've got a couple of pressure washing jobs coming up. Not necessarily pressure wash, is this, the moss, the weeds, etc. So get this all sorted out. There's a few areas like that, sort of in between the road and the pavement, or the patio, whatever you want to call it, driveway. A few areas like this, and then there's this section here. Basically, I've sort of scraped it out here, and there's probably a good 2 foot of driveway missing. And the way we sort of discussed it is actually, if you cut this right back to here, you could probably, if necessary, park a car in there. So that'll be another job, is to cut this right back. And also these stepping stones, I mean, when we were walking around this morning in the dew, it's you're just getting soaking wet feet. So I'll cut all these back as well. That'll be another job. Plenty of jobs to get on with, isn't there? So this is the area that you'll remember from Monday, and if you remember, I said it grew. So there we go. The iron treatment's working well, you can see on the lawn. Okay, so first line in, actually there's one over there as well. I'm not striping it because I do want it to kind of blend with the mossy patch over there. So I'm not striping it. However, I'm a massive advocate for straight turfs. I hate it when they start getting kinked and bent. So what I've done is I've taken a line off the wall. So put one down, put two down, but now I need to match that one up with this one. So I'm using a straight edge off of that to down here. Now I've got my straight line in, everything can work off of that. Okay, so now when turfing, getting this join is the most important bit. You want the turf to sit a little bit proud, but you can't have a step. It's got to be smooth. So this is how we're just going to cut along the turf with the edging iron. Already done this bit. Just doing it for the purpose of the video. Flick it up. We're going to beat it all back down so that we don't have a lip. So the turf might be a little bit higher here, but it will settle. But as long as we get that lip the same height, that's the most important bit. Okay, so now it's all been levelled. All I'm going to do is just take the fan rake over and just fluff up that grass on this side mainly that's been knocked down, and just try and make it blend in just as best as I can. Here we are, all done. And looks as though it's going to be rain all next week, so that will be perfect. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. It wasn't what it intended to be, this kind of like a week in lawn care, but I've got to say I think this is probably the most accurate reflection of what my week would look like, with lawn treatments, turfing, mowing sort of intricate little lawns and big lawns as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. There should be enough content there, I think, to make it interesting. And anyways, I'll see you in the next one. So thanks a lot. If you want to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, I'd appreciate that. And I'll see you in the next one.